Hello and welcome to this video in the R Analytics course. In the previous videos, we had seen data structures like vectors, matrices, and factors. In this video, we will look at the most important data structure, data frames. Most of the work is done through data frames. As mentioned in an earlier video, data frames are nothing but tables that we see in Excel. Let us see how we create a data frame in R. We create a vector by the name city with the following elements: Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Gurgaon, and Pune. The next vector is region with these elements: North, West, South, North, and West. The last vector we create is sale with these elements. Now we will put these vectors into a data frame named frame1. We write frame1 equal to data.frame, brackets open, names of the vectors city, region, and sale. We execute the frame1 data frame to see the table as expected. This table has all the three vectors in columns. This is how we create a data frame when we have to enter the data manually. However, often we do not need to manually enter data like this. We have a lot of data frames inbuilt in R for practice. For example, we type Titanic and press enter. We can see here that the data stored in this data structure is displayed in front of us. Similarly, there is another data frame by the name empty cars. Now there are many such data frames. To view the list, we type data followed by open and close brackets. When we press enter, we can see we get a list of data frames that are stored in our package. In case you cannot see all these data frames on your screen, then you have to install a package named datasets. Let us see another dataset by the name BOD. As we press enter, we can see the data stored in this data structure. If we want to see that what is available in all the datasets, then we can see this line at the bottom. Use data package is equal to dot packages all dot available equal to true. If we write this exactly over here and we press enter, then we will get the details of every package over here. For example, we have a package named boot in which we have these data frames. Similarly, there is another package named cluster which has the following data frames in it. We can keep checking the various packages in which we have data frames stored. Let us pick one dataset now to use it as an example. We take empty cars and we can see the data in it over here. Similarly, we type Titanic to see the kind of data stored in it. But we can see here that unlike empty cars, the data in Titanic is not coming in a single table. Thus, we will have to convert this into a data frame. For that we write T is equal to data.frame Titanic. We will also add the keyword as in front of it. The keyword as will convert the data into the data structure that is mentioned after as. Now we execute T to see that we get one table for the whole dataset for Titanic. Now we can work on this dataset. This is how we can handle the datasets that are stored in R. However, in real life we will get the datasets from some external sources. For example, we see two Excel files over here by the names unit cost and table data. Now we have to import these files into R to work on these datasets. We must look at it carefully that one file is in the CSV format and the other is in XLS format. Let us clear the window by pressing Ctrl plus L. If we clear the window like this, we do not lose the memory. We can see here the data frame by the name T is still here. Now to import the CSV file, we will first take the file path of the table to be imported. Then we write read.csv in the R window. Within brackets, we paste the path of the file. As we press enter, we can see that the whole table has been imported in R. Let us now store this whole dataset in a variable, say by the name unit cost. We can check by executing the command unit cost to see the data has been stored in correctly. Similarly, to import the Excel file, we will first copy the path of that file. To get the path, we press Windows plus R and then drag the file here. Once we get the file path, we have to change these forward slash to backward ones. We have changed them here and now copy this to paste it in R. In R, we write read.xlsx. This is however not showing here. Why? We will just get back to it. Meanwhile, in the brackets we mention the file path and then put a comma to mention the sheet index equal to 1. This will tell R that in which sheet the data is. As we press enter, we get an error. The error is occurring because read.xlsx is not available in the R console by default. For this command to execute, we will have to store a package named xlsx package. We can install this package in two ways. One is to go here on the packages tab, click on install, and then write xlsx here. And the other way is to write install.packages here and mention xlsx in brackets. As we press enter, the package gets installed. Please remember to keep your internet connection on for this. We can now check here to see if it has installed or not. The package can be seen here, which means it has been installed successfully. Now we will have to activate this. To activate also, we have two methods. One way is to just click it here on the tick box if we are using the R Studio. The other method is to write library followed by xlsx in brackets. Now as we press enter, we can see that R has started loading the package. We can see here that the tick box also has been checked automatically. Now we again write the same command and store this data in a variable named tbl data. We can see we get an error again with respect to sheet index. We rewrite the code and we see that the problem was with the case of sheet index. Now it has run successfully. We execute the variable tbl data to see the data in R. Thus, we have now seen how to handle the existing data frames in R and import CSV and Excel files into R. We can see we have the following data frames. Frame 1, T, which has the data of Titanic, and the 2 that we imported just now. If we click here on the right icon, then the table stored in that data frame will be displayed on the left. We can see that all the 4 data frames have opened up in different tabs over here. The other way to display these tables is to use the view command in the console. When we clicked on those icons, the view command got populated over here by default. Suppose we pick the data frame tbl data. Now we want to extract or select only a few columns from the whole table. For that we have a few methods. The first method is where we write x, a new variable equal to subset, and then mention the name of the data frame in brackets. In our case, this is tbl data. Then we put a comma and write select equal to, and then mention the columns we want to select. We write C and then in brackets the numbers of the columns to be selected, say 1, 2 and 5. Now when we press enter and execute X, we can see that the table for only state, city and quantity is created. Subset is method number 1 to select some columns from a given data frame. The other method is where we define Y equal to TBL data, which is the name of our data frame, and then in square brackets, comma, followed by C, 1, 2 and 5. We did this earlier that if we write something to the left of the comma, it indicates a row, and anything to the right of the comma indicates column. Since we want all the rows here, that is why we do not write anything before the comma. Now when we execute Y, we can see we get the desired output. In case we wanted all the columns from 1 to 3, then we could have written it like this also in the square brackets. We can see that we get the values for columns 1, 2 and 3. Another method which can help us to do the same task of extracting columns from a table is where we write the name of the data frame, which is TBL data, then put a $sign. After that, we have to mention the name of the column we want to extract the data from. A similar method is where we can define a variable n and put it equal to the data frame and then the rows and columns we want from the data frame in square brackets. Here we want all the rows, so we do not write anything before the comma. After the comma, we put all the names of the columns we want to extract like we did earlier. We often make an error of confusing these two methods, so one must be careful while doing this. We have shown some common error commands that are passed by people here. Whenever we use the previous method of writing the data frame and then the column name after a $sign, the output will be in the form of a vector as we can see here. However, if we use the next method where we defined n and then the rows and columns, in such a situation the output is in a data frame structure. Now that we have understood how to select columns, let us look at the ways in which rows can be selected. Say we want to select the top 6 rows. For this, we have a function defined in R known as the head. We write head and put the name of the data frame in brackets to get the output. Similarly, the function tail gives us the bottom 6 rows of the table. Now suppose we want to select 20 rows from the data frame, TBL data. For that we define a variable v and put it equal to TBL data, and in square brackets we will define the rows and columns. So before the comma we write 1 to 20, which signifies the rows we want, and after the comma we leave it blank since we want all the columns. We execute v to see that we get the first 20 rows from the table. Now if we tweak this a bit by writing the command that we want the first 20 rows and first 3 columns, then we get this output. In case we want some selected columns, then as we did earlier, we will define it as a combination of the column numbers after the comma. As we execute v, we can see that we get the data for top 20 rows and columns 1, 2, 4 and 5. Next up, we want to filter the data based on the quantity variable. For that, we define d equal to TBL data, and in square brackets we leave rows blank, followed by a comma and then TBL data $quantity greater than 50. As we press enter, we see we get an error. Why are we getting this? This is because the filtering is being done by rows and not columns. So we must put this condition before the comma and not after that. As we press enter now, we see we get the desired result of only those rows where the quantity is greater than 50. Hence we wanted all the columns but not all the rows. In this video, we learned how to select or extract some columns and rows from a given data frame. The next video will go more in depth on data frames, functions, and packages required. This is it for now. Thank you.